Good, happy Tuesday morning, May 5th, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Tuesday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Tuesday morning, so let's begin. First up, PPE made available for all businesses opening under new order. First responders to get extra weekly stipends, governor says. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
I'm your Century Roofing foreman.
And I'm customer service.
And I'm the installer.
We're the Century Roofing team. Call us today.
Century Roofing, we got you covered.
Money from the Federal CARES Act will be partly used in New Hampshire to give a financial boost to first responders. Governor Chris Sununu says full-time firefighters, police and corrections officers, and EMS workers will earn an additional $300 a week. Part-timers will get $150.
We want to be there for them, not just financially, but with PPE, with support, making sure that they can get the job done for our citizens across our great state.
As certain businesses begin to reopen, personal protective equipment will be made available for employees and customers. A state mask portal has been launched, and already 2,100 businesses have applied to pick up free masks next week from DMV offices across New Hampshire.
We're a small state, and the barbers talk to each other, the salons talk to each other, the retailers very often talk to each other, and so clearly over the weekend the word had gotten up.
With nice weather over the weekend and summer approaching, the governor is concerned about Massachusetts visitors at the coast.
We saw a lot of folks coming over the border out of Salisbury into Seabrook and Hampton, a lot of Massachusetts cars. I mean, it was like bumper-to-bumper traffic, and virtually all of them were Massachusetts license plates.
Health leaders continuing to stress the message of social distancing and prevent the spread of COVID-19.
I want to encourage and strongly recommend that people wear cloth face masks when they are out in public. I believe it shows respect for others.
And regarding that PPE for business owners, if you visit this story on our website, WMUR.com, or our mobile app, there you'll find a link on how to apply. Reporting live in Concord, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Let's now take a look at your COVID-19 in New Hampshire information, what you need to know. And here is a look at the COVID-19 in New Hampshire information, what you need to know. There are 2,588 number of people who in New Hampshire have been tested positive for COVID-19. 1,177,784 number of people in the United States who have tested positive. 86 number of deaths from COVID-19 in New Hampshire. 286 number of people who have been hospitalized with COVID-19 in New Hampshire. And 68,442 number of deaths from COVID-19 in the United States. This map of New Hampshire shows you where cases of COVID-19 are in towns and cities of New Hampshire. In Manchester, 529 cases of COVID-19. This chart here, new cases each day in New Hampshire in the purple, daily new positive COVID-19 cases in the orange, new hospitalizations, and in the red, other deaths. This chart here shows you current cases in the purple, current COVID-19 cases, and in the orange, current hospitalizations. And this chart here shows you cumulative totals in the purple, total positive COVID-19 cases in the orange, total hospitalizations in the red, deaths, and in the blue, recovered. This chart here shows you by age group. This chart here shows you by female and male. This chart here shows you risk information. This chart here shows you race/ethnicity of cases. And this chart here shows you percent of New Hampshire population. And your common symptoms: fever, lack of smell, cough, chills, and difficult breathing. How it spreads, and prevention tips. Be sure to stay with the Riley King Network for the latest of your COVID-19 information. Quincy Walmart closed after employee dies of coronavirus. Let's take a listen to that video from WCVB Boston.
If you're ready for a change this fall, tune in to WCVB Channel 5 on Sundays at 1 p.m. for At Home in New England. You'll view some of the fabulous properties for sale in our region. At Home in New England, Sundays at 1 p.m. right here on WCVB Channel 5.
Doug, the Walmart here in Quincy is closed this morning, but city leaders say getting to this point should have happened sooner. Quincy's public health commissioner says she convinced Walmart to close the city store on Monday after 11 workers got sick from the coronavirus. One of them, described by the mayor as an elderly woman, died, and the city says they weren't getting information in a timely fashion. And they say it wasn't until they escalated their complaints up the food chain that they were heard.
We didn't want to get into that point, and I thought it was time that we had, that we stopped this. I had a very strong conversation with him, and I think it paid off.
If she had not been on this case so vigilantly, would they have closed down today voluntarily? I'm not so sure they would have.
In an email, Walmart told us, quote, "There are no words to express the loss of our associate. Everything we've done is for the well-being of our associates and our customers." Now, the Quincy store won't reopen until it's clean, inspected, and also until enough employees test negative to manage the store. Live in Quincy, Matt Reed, WCVB News Center 5.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Main business to close for good due to coronavirus. Businesses say they can't recover from the damage caused by the extended shutdown. Several businesses say they will not be able to reopen even when they are allowed to do so due to the extended closure from the coronavirus. Smitty's Cinema announced Monday that its Biddeford location would close permanently. The owners cited what they called unprecedented damage inflicted by the pandemic. Smitty's location in Sanford, Windham, Topsham, in Tilton, New Hampshire will reopen when they are allowed to safely do so. The titled Kite Pub and Eatery in South Portland also announced Monday it would not reopen. The restaurant has been open for 5 years. Their post on Facebook blamed the governor's executive order to keep restaurants closed and called the decision painful. Tasman Leather Group, a tannering based in Heartland, also announced Monday it will shut down for good. Officials said the coronavirus pandemic has led to a downfall in demand for its product. Operation at the plant will wind down over the summer before closing it for good by the summer's end, officials said. Two dead, another injured in Newport, Vermont shooting. The shooting took place at a home at 74 School Street just before 6 p.m. Monday. Let's take a listen to that video from NBC 5 in Vermont.
On this project, he helped us with our windows siding.
Tonight, police in the Northeast Kingdom investigating a shooting that killed 2 people and injured another. NBC5's Matt Layton is live in Newport with the very latest. Matt.
And Brian, investigators are still at the School Street house where this morning shootings took place, and police say it was the shooter's wife who called 911 to report what happened. The State Police Crime Scene Command Post pulling down School Street in Newport, where Vermont State Police say 2 people are dead and another was rushed to the hospital after a shooting Monday morning.
Gone to get in the car and we saw 2 ambulances, about 4 EMT were out, and a police officer had pulled up, and there was already, I believe, 2 inside.
Police say 51-year-old Paul Brown shot and killed his son-in-law, 38-year-old Kevin Atkins, then shot and injured his stepdaughter, 29-year-old Nicole Atkins, eventually turning the gun on himself. The Atkinsons' 3 children were also inside the house, but were not hurt.
They were removed very quickly by the first arriving officers, and DCF responded and helped us out quickly to get them with some family members.
A neighbor who lives next door remembered a recent conversation allegedly between her boyfriend and a man who lived at the house.
The second they had said that, I realized the older gentleman that had lived there had said a week ago that he wanted to shoot his step-son-in-law, and that he had a pistol, and several times he had talked himself out of it.
Police say all 3 people lived in this home.
We had heard before, quite often, him and someone else over there, often a woman, would get into arguments. We would often hear them arguing back and forth, so we knew that he could be quite rude and violent.
As investigators continue to look for clues, some who live on the street aren't panicking.
I'm not too worried now, although it is quite shocking to see in such a small town.
And police say the shooter's wife was not hurt in all of this, and at last check, Nicole Atkins was listed in stable condition at Dartmouth-Hitchcock Medical Center. Anyone with information is asked to give police a call. We are live in Newport tonight. Matt Layton, NBC5 News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Decision expected today about canceling remainder of school year in Connecticut. Let's take a listen to that video from Eyewitness News 3.
Near the end of the academic school year, many parents and students are wondering how long they're going to have to continue at-home learning. Well, the Commissioner of Education will have an answer for them today. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Carolina Cruz is live from Middletown High School now, one of the many schools around the state that will find out whether they will be opening the doors back to students. Right, Carolina?
Yeah, and Governor Lamont and his team, they've been speaking with superintendents around the state to figure out what their plans are if they were to bring students back into the classroom. And we know that today, they'll get an answer. During our Face the State live edition last Thursday, Governor Ned Lamont said the possibility of getting students back to school wasn't off the table. But his instincts led him to believe it would be a long haul to get school open before June. Today, the Education Commissioner will announce how long distance learning will continue for K through 12 in our state. Governor Lamont is giving universities and private colleges more flexibility and discretion. Campuses with residence halls have more to worry about, with tight living quarters compared to commuter schools.
Later on this week, you can hear from the university group that put in place a really good plan for how we can slowly get our universities, colleges, community colleges back up to speed.
The Board of Regents and also leaders at private colleges are going to have a final decision for those higher education students. Reporting in Middletown, I'm Carolina Cruz, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Outdoor dining, likely at some Rhode Island restaurants this summer. Let's take a listen to that video from 10 NBC JAR News.
Time, all on the most reliable wireless network. Switch and save up to $400 a year on your wireless bill. And ask how to get $200 off when you buy an eligible phone. Go to XfinityMobile.com today.
First at 6 tonight, setting the table for restaurants to offer more than takeout, and for those Rhode Island retailers who are closed to reopen. Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Patrice Wood.
And I'm Gene Valisanti. The governor outlines Phase 1 in more detail and sticks by that opening date. NBC 10's Brian Crandall live in Providence with the latest tonight. Brian?
Gina Patrice, Governor Gina Raimondo says she'll likely announce on Thursday if indeed her stay-at-home order will end on Friday as planned. She says Rhode Islanders should assume that it will, and that this plan goes into motion. First up in Phase 1 of reopenings, non-critical retailers that have been closed can get back to business. Workers and customers will have to wear face coverings, and there will be limited capacity. One shopper per 300 square feet of building space.
Come a week from today, assuming I've lifted the stay-at-home order, if you're a retail operation that can comply with these new rules, go ahead and open your doors, and let's get your sales going again.
Governor Gina Raimondo says later in Phase 1, she hopes to allow outdoor seating at restaurants, but no sit-down eating inside yet.
Seating will be by reservation only, and there likely will be no frequently touched and reused objects. So think of a menu, condiments, silverware will all have to be individually wrapped. Staff will have to be wearing masks.
Raimondo says office workers who can work from home should continue to do so. For those who need to go in, every effort should be made to keep workers 6 feet apart.
Every employer is going to have to screen every employee every day to make sure they're not sick.
And the governor says regular doctor's visits should resume.
We want to start to see a lot of our healthcare folks get back to work under all new infection control plans, mask wearing, etc., and to allow people to start getting the health care that they've deferred.
Raimondo says Phase 1 would last 14 days if it goes well. She says restaurants and businesses like salons would then be the further focus of Phase 2. The governor also said tomorrow she'll have a new announcement clarifying the rules on wearing cloth face coverings. I'm Brian Crandall, NBC 10 News, live in Providence.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And, 7 more states ease restrictions today. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
The entire country tried to enforce social distancing as frustrations mount. This Texas park ranger trying to break up a crowd at Lake Austin shoved in the water. And in New York City, at least 100 social distancing summons issued, including this confrontation between plainclothes police and a group on the street. The altercation escalating, ending with one officer taking out his stun gun. The NYPD saying the incident is under investigation. Amid these simmering tensions, governors struggling to determine the best path forward. Mississippi halted plans to reopen after seeing a single-day record of nearly 400 new cases on Friday.
It was a one-day blip.
The governor saying that spike was due to receiving a lot of test results all at one time. And governors also taking different approaches on facial masks. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo emphasizing their importance, saying masks are non-negotiable.
It's not the most attractive garment ever created. So what? Well, I don't like, it feels uncomfortable, unnatural. So what?
But Ohio's Governor Mike DeWine backed down from his mandatory mask order.
It became clear to me that that was just a bridge too far, that people were not going to accept the government telling them what to do.
His fears already proven true in other states. In Oklahoma, one city reversing mask requirements after officials say store and restaurant employees were threatened with violence. In Maryland, dozens gathered demanding businesses reopen despite a steady increase in cases.
Sadly, we had far more people die yesterday in Maryland than we had protesters.
In Arizona, at least 3 sheriffs say they will not fully enforce stay-at-home orders.
I think you could make a clear claim that that's a constitutional violation.
And the reopening of beaches also posing a big dilemma. In California, LA and Orange County beaches still completely shut down despite protests. Do you like a mask?
Yes.
Yeah. City officials handing out masks to beachgoers in Massachusetts. But in Texas,
I did not expect it to be this crowded.
Beaches jam-packed, no social distancing, and no masks to be seen. This week, several states will begin easing restrictions, but in different ways. Florida, Missouri, and Kansas will start opening restaurants, but at different capacities. Indiana will start to open retail stores, but at only 50% capacity. And New Hampshire will start to allow more health services and elective procedures. Kenneth and Mona, back to you.
Andrea, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephan.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for watching this morning edition. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.